decent shot here for the video. Hope you're all doing well out there and you can hear me okay. Camera is a little bit further away so you can see drums and I can try and demo stuff during this video. Someone give me a what if you can hear me okay, and we'll get going. Just going to bring up the video so I can keep up with your chat. Here we are. There we go. Okay, so this video, just to be clear, is all about, this great idea that popped up from Suzanne Lash about doing a video basically for non-drummers, for people who want to ask beginner basic questions, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. So this is not the day to ask about displacement, polyrhythm, Danny Carey. It's just not the day for that. Suzanne, you've made it. Greetings from Dallas. I went to Dallas briefly. I think I stayed there a night. Big place. Okay, now I'm going to read out Suzanne's comment that she sent me, which was the inspiration for this. Just to set the stage. You guys know that it's Led Zepp week this week. I haven't done a Led Zepp live video to accompany the week, simply because I've done a bunch of Led Zepp weeks, and I did a couple of live videos, so I've sort of said my piece with regards to Bonham. Put it very bluntly, he's very good at drums. I see people saying the volume's a bit low. There's nothing I can really do about that. I guess I could bring it a bit closer. That's about all I can do. Hopefully that's a bit better. That's going to just be a bit maybe harder to show you guys stuff. Okay, here's the original message from Suzanne Lash. Hi Andrew, I had an epiphany this morning about your channel. Seems there are a lot of people like me that are not drummers, that's completely true, and know nothing about drumming that are subscribed to your channel that would appreciate maybe a tutorial of the drum equipment and what it does. You talk a lot about different things, but me as a dumb person to drumming don't understand. So maybe a 101 drumming for dummies kind of thing. So that's the genesis of all this. Now, I do need to stress, and I did a post about this yesterday because this blew my mind. Bear with me. As many of you will know, I have the ability as a Drumeo partner to offer you a free 30-day trial on Drumeo. Now, you can get a free trial on Drumeo anyway. This is a one-off trial for each person. But if you just go, let's just say you didn't use my link and you just went to Drumeo, you would get a 7-day maximum trial. Follow my link, you're going to get a 30-day trial. Now, 30-day Drummer Season 2 has just started. This is a complete beginner course on drumming. Now, if you're thinking like I thought, I can offer you a 30-day free trial. Drumeo's just started a 30-day drummer course from zero to playing songs in 30 days. 10 minutes a day. The link is in the description of the video. I'll put a link in the live chat as well. I won't keep going on about this, but just I get so many questions along the lines of, hey, I'm old. I'm uncoordinated. I've never played drums before. What should I do? This is what you should do. It doesn't get any better than this. Like this is it. The stars have aligned. You get a free 30-day drum course for free. I hope this is making sense, because when I clicked onto this, I actually I had to check this with my Drumeo rep, because I thought it was just such a hack, and I said, is this okay? Can I offer, because this is a big thing. 8,000 drummers did the first season of this. 8,000 people went from not being a drummer, basically, or a total beginner, to being a drummer and playing songs. 10 minutes a day. And you guys could do it for free. So I don't want to hear any more. I don't want to hear any more of those type of questions. What should I do? Or I'm a beginner, or I'm especially uncoordinated, or I'm this or I'm that. I cannot stress enough. That's what you should be doing. Okay. With that said, with that rant out of the way, let's hit some questions, eh? So, I'm just going to go in the order that these came in on the original post, but I will also try and keep up with the chat. So I'm going to do my best. Okay, the first question that came in from Clockwork Angel. Maybe add something about how the drums and bass work together to create the foundation of a song. Now I'm going to be as quick as I can with these answers, because there's a lot of questions so far. I think there's a million ways that to skin a cat, there's a million ways a song can develop. Let's put it really simply. Let's say, speaking of the bass and the drums, which form a rhythm section together, working as a team, let's say my bassist has come up with a bass groove, and it is bonk, ba-bump, bump, bump, ba-bump, bump. That's just the basic bass line that the bassist has come up with. I might turn around onto the kit and play dum ka da dum dum ka dum ka da dum dum ka bump ba bump 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 ba bump bump dum ka da dum dum. So I'm trying to line up my bass drum, my right foot on the pedal, with those bass notes. This is not a formula that necessarily happens every time or is going to work every time, but that's just a very, very basic overview. You're trying to make things line up and lock in. And when things line up and lock in, that's what we call tight. Tight music. And tight music sounds good. Hopefully that answered your question, Clockwork Angel. Okay, Alex Gallant, hopefully I'm saying that right. Discussion of drum sounds often focuses on the snare and the kick. So the kick being the bass drum, right? The thing that you play with your right foot. You would have seen on my covers, I've got a bass drum cam, so you can see what my foot's doing on the bass drum there. I'd love a basic overview about the main parts of either type of drum and how they affect the drum's sound. Like what that metal brush thing inside a snare is, or why some kicks have a front head and rear head and others don't. Okay, here we go. Snare drums. I've prepared one earlier. This is the snare that you'd see on my videos. This is a Ludwig Supraphonic LM400 snare. It is the most widely recorded snare drum in the history of drumming, as used by Hal Blaine and the Wrecking Crew, John Bonham, Alex Van Halen, although Alex Van Halen and John Bonham use the deeper version of this. They use a 6.5. This is a 5-inch deep snare. Anyway, off topic. Alex was talking about the metal brush thing inside a snare. This is great. This is great because it's not inside the snare. It's on the outside of the snare. Okay? So I can turn the snare off and on using this. Now it's in the on position. It's going to create a snare sound because these wires have been snapped tightly into place with this. Now if I disengage this, it takes the wires off the bottom head. No more snare sound. On, off. So you're engaging and you're disengaging these wires. Hopefully that at least partially answers your question. Okay, a few people are saying there's a low audio. You might have to just crank up your end. I'm pretty close to the mic here. You know what? Let's do a quick test. How loud am I now versus how loud am I now? Was the first time louder or was the second time louder? I'll wait for a comment because I've got my little mic and I can either pop it in or not. That's what she said. Second is louder. What is this guy doing? Why have I even got this mic if it's louder without it? Okay, so hopefully you can hear me well now. Okay, now whether to go to the chat or to the comments on the video. I love this comment from non-drummers. This is from Richard Harold. Non-drummers and non-musicians, referring to the title of the video. The latter includes drummers, surely. Naughty. Okay, here we go. Flow R. How easy is it for a more mature left-hander to learn the drums? What's a starting point? Refer back to what I said at the start of this video. I can give you a free trial on Drumeo. I've put the link in the chat. The link is in the description of the video as well. 30-day free trial, cancel anytime. Drumeo have just started 30-day drummer season 2. Follow my link, enroll. You've got 30 days of drum lessons completely free on my link. That's the answer to this question. I can't teach you. I mean, I'm in New Zealand, obviously. I don't know where you are, Flo are, and my teaching schedule is completely full, overflowing. I'm turning people away. So this is where Drumeo comes in. Jason Luther, I can play drums, but I'm no drummer. Play a lot of bass, willing to hear more about my partner instrument. Bun Davis, how exactly do you tune up a cowbell? Purely comedic comment, thanks for the content. Okay, I'm going to shoot over to the live chat. Mean Metal Mike, what was your first branded cymbals and kit? My first proper kit was I saved up my pennies very, very hard and I bought a Tama Art Star drum kit and Zildjian Custom A cymbals. Before that, I had a junkyard kit. All I had was kick, snare, hi-hats, and I've talked about this before on the channel. My hi-hat pedal did not even have a chain in it to pull the cymbals up and down. I used a shoelace. Humble beginnings, man. Okay, here we go. This is a good one. Good one. The Paul cast. How do I speed up my single hits with my kick pedal? I can do heel toe, but not super accurately yet. The answer to this question, and the answer to most drumming questions, this is an awkward truth that most people don't want to hear. The answer is practice. That's it. That's the answer. People start saying, well, should I do swivel? Practice. Should I do heel up? Practice. Should I do heel down? Just practice. Just practice. It'll get faster. And you need to look at this in terms of years, not days, not hours, not weeks. To put this into perspective, I got some really nice feedback actually on some of my recent pad videos where I'm doing different hand exercises and people, wow, that's really clean, or that's really fast. That's great. Now, I've been working with a pad and the stick control book for sheepers, over 20 years. Now, this is literally over 20 years on one page. Not even close to mastering it. No one ever masters this stuff. It's just a constant work in progress. Look at it like art and not, it's not like this is what we're aiming for. Boo, I got there and now I can stop playing drums and learn violin. Doesn't work like that. You're aiming for this and it just keeps going. There's no end. No one has mastered the drums, ever. No one will ever, it's impossible. Mark Long, hi Andrew, love the drums and your channel. My brother played the drums and was a bit of a natural, but I never seemed to have the independent limbs to be able to play properly. Is that something that can be developed? Yes, practice. So again, if you're new, or perhaps you've been out of the game for a while and you're just, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start. Again, do my Drumeo hack. You will get 30 days. This is including live videos, Q&As with Domino Sant'Antonio. She takes you through the course, and it's 10 minutes a day. And it instills a bit of a practice ethic and specific things on what you need to be doing. Just do it. Just do it. Mean Metal Mike, what stumps you most about Bill Ward? I think it's his... I didn't expect the jazz and the independence, the comping approach to drums. It's just not what I expected. I think I expected Phil Rudd. Not that there's anything wrong with Phil Rudd. I'm a big fan of Phil Rudd. But I expected meat and potatoes. That's what I expected with Black Sabbath. Dude's playing jazz. That's what shocked me. What else we got here? Springy, this is a smart comment. Gaffer tape will tune a cowbell. It's absolutely true. So you might, here's another good thing for beginner drummers, and I've just lost my mic. You will see tape on drums. You will see various little muting things that people put on the drum heads, not on an E-kit. You don't need to on an E-kit. On an acoustic drum kit, you'll see people putting tape and all kinds of stuff. That is just to change the sound, normally to what we call dampen or mute the sound. So drums can be quite ringy. I'll give you an example. Get my trusty snare again. I'll turn it off just so you guys don't blow your eardrums out. Now, if I hit this drum, it's going to ring. It's got that kind of unsympathetic. Now, if I mute the drum, in this case, I'm going to put my thumb on it. Hear the difference? Second sound is way shorter, and it kills the overtones. You will see people talking about pure tone and pure this and resonance, and I want a drum kit. I'm going to spend $30,000 on a drum kit because that drum kit has got the best resonance. You will see that same person a week after buying the drum kit with tape on it. I'm not even kidding. It's madness what goes on out there. It's madness what people will believe and buy into. Mean Metal Mike, how can I lock into 4/4 each time I cover AC/DC songs? I'm missing a slight beat. Am I overplaying the pocket, or is it just difficult to master the money beat? Now, this is when you need a drum teacher or you need feedback on the video. So I can't help you here because I haven't seen the video. People who give advice in online forums and in comment sections of videos who have never seen you play, forget about it. Forget about it. No one can give you advice on something that specific if they haven't seen you play. Who knows, maybe you're nailing it. In most cases, if you record yourself, that will fix a lot of things because you will see, oh, it's that bit. It's amazing what recording yourself can do. So that's my feedback there. Kim Eric Forsberg, are you going to play drum? Are you going to play at some point, Andrew? Today? Not today. Just so you know, I've got hundreds and hundreds of playing videos on this YouTube channel. So I still get people saying, "Hey, I've been watching you for a long time. I'll drop a cover or something or a pad video," and people say, "Hey, I've been watching you for a long time. This is the first time I've ever seen you play." Really? There's more playing videos of me on this channel than reactions. So you might just need to go back through and have a search. Hold on, CloudWrath216. I'm 27. Luckily got my first Pearl drum kit at 7. Am I allowed to play on the stream? How would you play on the stream? I don't quite follow the. I don't quite follow. Mean Metal Mike, any tips for drummers like me on the spectrum with learning disabilities? Andrew, I've taught many drummers on the spectrum. I sort of talked about this on a different video. Again, my advice. This is such an opportunity. I can't believe it. Ugh. Take my 30-day trial and go and enroll in the 30-day drummer course on Drumeo. It doesn't matter if you're on the spectrum, if you're left-handed, if you're 50 or 5 or 500 years old, it doesn't matter. That is as good a start point as anything. And it's free. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't matter. You haven't lost anything. You just cancel and you try something else, you know. But that's all I can say. What else we got? Mean Metal Mike, would pots and pans be a fun addition to a kit for effects? Yeah, people have done that. And yeah, it can be quite nice, that sort of trash can approach. Lord Backdoor. I second... I called you Lord Backdoor. That's what she said. Eh? But it's Lord... Oh, sorry. But it's Lord Backdoor. I second the practice takes years thing. It took me a couple of months to learn blast beats and at least 5 years to get reasonably comfortable with them. Yeah. The people underestimate how long this takes. I'm not on coffee at the moment. I'm on water, by the way. There's a great saying, people overestimate what they can achieve in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years. It takes a long time to get really good. To be able to play a song, to be able to play a relatively basic song, let's say something like Back in Black, or Eye of the Tiger. Just those are ones that come to mind. Another one bites the dust. Queen, Billie Jean, Michael Jackson. To be able to play those and sound decent, I've normally got a student playing those kind of songs by the end of the first lesson, if not definitely the second or third lesson. So you get this learning curve where you get this really fast progress at the start because you're coming from nothing and you're completely shocked in your yeah, and then the reality kicks in of, oh, it's really difficult to really get good. So when I say you can learn Back in Black in 1 or 2 lessons, there's a difference between that and playing Back in Black like Phil Rudd. Big difference. He plays it so relaxed and it's so groovy and the time is just impeccable. That just takes time, just takes practice. Dan Reed, show us triplets. I will do that, Dan. I'm going to turn on my metronome because we need a frame of reference. So I am going to play you triplets at 120 BPM. Got my trusty Drumeo sticks. Can't see my practice pad though. But these are triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are triplets. Eighth note triplets, 3 per click. All right. 16th note triplets, 6 hits per click. Yeah, there you go. Okay, now on the bass drum. I don't have my kit plugged into a speaker at the moment. Mean Metal Mike, how do you roll on floor toms and rack toms? Do you mean like a long, like that you would get at the end of a song? Kind of that kind of vibe? That's just singles. So that's just right, left, right, left. And it normally does like a little, does that sort of little fade out. Kim Eric Forsberg. Oh, coming back to the whole practice thing. You don't get to be Estebario Siberiano in a few years, that's for sure. And look, he is really, he's really open and honest about this. So he is telling you, this is not talent, it's not magic, it's hard work. He's telling you that. I'm telling you that. I've got whole videos on myth busting that I've done with other local great teachers. They will tell you that. Up to you if you want to believe it or not, but trust me, it's true. People love magic and people love natural talent. Nope. All right, I'm going to come back here. Suzanne Lash. What made it necessary for musicians to start playing to a clicker? Fantastic question. So, and just to clarify here, Suzanne, click is probably the term you're looking for. So a click is basically a metronome. Now this is a physical metronome, okay? So let's say the tempo of a song is 120. I can just put this on and I can play along to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So that's what we're talking about. A click, an external time source that the band or the drummer is locking into, okay? Let me know if this is making sense as I go through it. So what made it necessary for musicians to start playing to that? So musicians are obviously always trying to get better. Now, metronomes have been around for hundreds of years. Classical musicians using them, a long time ago. And better in many instances might refer to getting faster. How do you know you're getting faster? You turn the metronome up, you make it faster, and then you try and be able to play at that faster tempo. So I can just keep turning it up. And then studio musicians, producers wanted to get better and better product out to the consumer, out to you and I, the purchaser of music. Back when people used to buy music. Ba-boom, too soon? Anyway, so one of the ways they figured out to make recordings tighter and more consistent is to record to an external source that means that you're playing perfectly in time. Now, this is a great debate. This is probably a debate for another video, whether that sounds better or not. These days, 2023, you will almost get no music at all not on click. I wouldn't even begin to start to think about, put it this way, you get an Ed Sheeran song and it's just him playing an acoustic guitar and singing, click. You get a band playing a rock song now, click. You get I don't know when this worm turned and when we started doing this either. Because Led Zeppelin, not on a click. Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, my era of music, no click. I think it was around there. I think it was in the late 90s. And what this meant, Suzanne, was if you could put the music to a click, you can see in the digital audio workstation, DAW, you can see the sound files. So I can see in my computer clicks. I can see it going click, 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 click. Now what people can do is they can move the drums and the vocals and the guitar and the bass to be perfectly in time. Perfectly in time. Now, does it sound good to be perfectly in time? In my opinion, not really. I still want a bit of humanity in there. Anyway, this is a big discussion. It's a fantastic question. Let's get into that on a whole separate video, click versus non-click. Robert McCambridge drums. In your experience, what are the quietest practice pads to use for nighttime practice, both foot and handwork? Well, my Drumeo pad is called a quiet pad. This is me talking, this is me hitting it. I can play this in the lounge while people are asleep in the next room, and it's fine. I get away with that, no problem. Suzanne Lash, seems like cheating to me. I thought the drummer was the click. Led Zeppelin did fine without it. Good point. It's a bit like auto-tune, right? So auto-tune vocals, if you don't know, similar idea, where I can record a vocal. I can't sing to save myself, but I could sing this chorus or this verse of the song, and using auto-tune, I can move my voice, literally click and drag my voice to be in tune. I've never done this personally, but that is the idea. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So you are hearing a computer, and there are artifacts to that sound as well. So I can hear auto-tune vocals instantly, within seconds. Oh, auto-tune. Ugh. Happens in all genres too. People love to bag pop music as being so plastic and fake and auto-tune. It's in everything. It's in everything. Mark Long, love to hear your cover Paul Hester's Brush Style on 4 Seasons in One Day. Always love that song. Crowded House. Yeah, that's a good one, Mark. Hey, look, another thing I brought up on different videos is recording drum covers of New Zealand bands. Or playing drum parts from New Zealand bands. They always get blocked. Don't get me started. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, I won't play your song and give you more money. If I do a cover of a Kiwi song, right? And I don't know, gets 10,000 views on YouTube. They get all the money, but they block it. Huh? I honestly don't even think they understand this. It's like they think you're stealing their music. I don't know. Don't make any sense. If that doesn't make any sense to you, good, because it doesn't make any sense. Gizmodus. Suzanne, doesn't it say more about today's musicianship that they're on a click? Yeah, this is interesting. This is the other thing I need to stress to you, and let me know if this makes sense. So if I do a live show, now I've done loads and loads and loads of live shows where I'm on click. I've got my headphones on, and in my headphones I can hear click, 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 basically for the whole show. Different tempos depending on the song. What that means is basically it's perfectly in time. Now they can start layering in tracks or different instruments and sounds into the overall track. So me as the drummer, I'm playing live, that's coming through, I'm mic'd up, that's coming through the system, but so is the backing track that is tied to the click. Now, if we put an orchestral string part into the backing track, you no longer have to pay an orchestra to play live 30, I don't know, I might do a theatre gig, it might be 35 shows in a row. How much money are you saving by not paying an orchestra 35 times? You can just put it in the track. Now we're getting down to why click is so pervasive in today's music. I've got young students who are really, really killing it on drums. Killing it. Amazing. All of them are playing to clicks and all of them are playing to tracks. You get tribute shows around town. Now, sometimes with tribute shows, they try and get the sound as close to the actual recording as possible. One easy way to do that, layer in tracks of literally the original sounds. Some cases, the layering in actually parts of the original tracks, and you're just playing over the top of it. 99% of people at a show will not realize that there is pre-recorded music coming through. Now this happens live, not only with tribute acts or covers acts or live originals in the scene. This happens at shows you are paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars to go to. There are tracks, what we call tracks in the show, pre-recorded music. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Benneberg, been wondering, as I play a bit of bass, what do you, as a drummer, listen for when playing, jamming with a bass player? Got a piece of advice for bass players that could help from a drummer perspective? There's one thing, first and foremost, that I listen for in a bass player, time. And then daylight. And then second, tone. Time and tone. Can the person play in time? Have they got a good tone? Do they sound like killer? Is the tone just like, oh, all of this? No. I already know a bass player can't play if at sound check they're slapping and playing Higher Ground by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I know you can't play straight away. Time and tone. So the good bass players, the great bass players I've played with, I can hear in seconds that this guy or this girl is a monster bass player. Confidence, big intonation, big sound, like it's just, oh, it's all there. It sounds like a mastered CD and they've literally just turned on their amp. Hopefully that answers your question. Sali Agul, what kind of difference do drumstick material make? To put it better, oak, hickory, or maple change the feeling? Yes. Okay, so hickory sticks, think of hickory drumsticks as like the middle, general drumstick, not soft, not hard, that's what she said, just perfectly in the middle. The weighting is just like normal standard drumstick. So 90% of the time I use hickory sticks. If I'm playing a quiet gig or if I want to play quieter for some reason, I'll use maple sticks. Maple is a softer wood. It's got a softer attack. It's about, don't quote me on this, it's about 20 to 30% quieter than a hickory drumstick. That's what I've found anyway. So first set, if I've got a wedding gig, for example, first set I'll play maple sticks and then switch to hickory sticks. Oak is a harder wood than hickory. So if you think of hickory in the middle, maple softer, quieter. I believe oak might be harder again. I don't know much about oak sticks. I haven't used them. I've heard they're a little bit brittle. Anyway, Mark Long. What? That is bollocks. What is bollocks? I have to clarify. The chat is always a little bit laggy. Remember, guys, I can only give you answers from my experience. I can't please everybody. I can only be honest and tell you what I think. So yeah, it's just, it's just my thoughts. Where are we up to here? Oh, Anthony Partington. Hey, Andrew, how about the excellent question I had about exceptional drummers struggling with the Picaro shuffle from Rosanna? Yes. Oh, okay, sorry. That is bollocks about the blocking of New Zealand bands, not directed at you. Yeah, okay, I got you, Mark. Ridiculous. It's honestly, it blows my mind. Trust me, it blows my mind. What do bands want? Bands want exposure. Bands want money. They want views. They want people to see them so they come to the live show. To hear them so they buy the album or subscribe, follow them on Spotify. I do a drum cover of it. How does that hurt any of this process? I guess it could in the sense, if I did a really bad drum cover and it completely ruined the song and it's like, oh my God, this sounds horrible. Maybe. But yeah, as I say, they get the money. So YouTube, if I do a drum cover of a New Zealand song, and let's say it gets 10,000, 20,000 views, YouTube literally pay them for those views. Not me, they pay them. I got nothing else to say on it. It's just ridiculous. Okay, what were we talking about? Rosanna Shuffle. This is a whole other video, I think. It's so misunderstood. Now, check this out. One of the early videos, might have been the first video I did, reaction type, analysis type video, was on Rosanna. Now, I did a complete breakdown of the song, in depth, using the transcription. Now, I have never ever gotten so much heat in the comments about a video, ever. Not even from the Rush fans. I've had Rush fans tell me they're completely offended and they're unsubscribing because I've never heard of Rush. I can't help that. I can't help who I've never listened to, okay? It was nothing compared to Rosanna. People got so fired up. The reason why no one can play Rosanna is because A, it's really difficult to start with. Really difficult. It's fast. It's awkward. The left hand is doing accents, loud hits, and ghosts. Quiet hits. Really fast. Constant. That's what gives it that rolling feel. I can't sort of sing the part. It's too difficult. But faster. The whole time you're doing rolling triplets and filling in notes, either with accents or quiet notes. So just to start with, the groove is difficult. I can't play it. I'm always open and honest with this stuff. Well, you shouldn't be a drum teacher. You should be looking for an honest drum teacher. You shouldn't be upset at a drum teacher being honest. So just to start with, this song is really difficult to play the pattern. So that's first. Secondly, making that pattern feel good. There are two different things here. Learning a pattern mechanically and being able to physically play it at the speed that he's playing it in that song. One-handed shuffle, lightning fast. Second aspect is making it sound good. Yes, we can play the pattern, we can learn it mechanically and learn the notes. Does it sound good? No. Why? Because it's really difficult to make something sound good. This is where everybody goes wrong with Phil Rudd and Travis Barker and Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl, oh, that's easy drumming. Really? Let's hear it. Because the notes are easy. The feel is what's difficult. I can play everything Dave Grohl's ever played, but I can't play it like him. Okay? He plays it so good. It just feels good. And if you want evidence as to how good he plays it, his songs are #1 hits. He's a huge rock star. That is evidence enough of how good he's making these songs sound. Anyway, back to Rosanna. So we've got this incredibly difficult beat. We've got the idea of how difficult it is to make it sound good. Third aspect, as to why Rosanna is so difficult and why no one has ever done a good cover of Rosanna, is because there is improv in it. So Rosanna is not a pattern repeated. He's changing the pattern. We are talking about Jeff Porcaro, the Toto drummer, my personal favorite drummer of all time. He's the greatest. He is one of the most in-demand session drummers that has ever lived in the history of drumming. #1 hits out the wazoo for Michael Jackson, for George Benson, Michael McDonald, on and on and on and on and on. Everybody wanted to hire him because he made hits happen on the drums. Coming back to the feel thing, right? So the pattern changes constantly, subtly. So when people do a cover of Rosanna, what they tend to do is they play the Rosanna shuffle over and over and over and over and over for 3 minutes with all the fills and stuff. And then you listen back and you think, why doesn't it sound like Rosanna? Because there's no improv in it. I've done an interview on my podcast, the NZ Drummer Podcast, with Steve Piccaro, Jeff Piccaro's brother. He's founding member of Toto, keyboardist, and yeah, he's on that song, right? He's playing keys. That song is one take. One take, no click. So when you combine all of this together of someone organically playing a drum part once, it's not overly pre-planned. He's just playing. He's just playing, and whatever his body and his brain happens to think of and do in the moment is what came out on the recording. So this copy-paste world we live in now, where you record a bar of drums and then you copy it, paste, 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 and that's your verse. That's not what was happening back then. That's not what was happening back in the Led Zepp, Black Sabbath days. Those days are human beings playing the drums with all of the inaccuracies and weird things and strange little sounds, and you double hit that thing and you hit this a bit harder. It's so difficult to capture all that humanity. I've done a bunch of Bonham covers. I've done a couple of Bill Ward covers, done a couple of Jeff Piccaro covers as well. And these are the hard ones. Those are the hard ones to do because it just changes so much. And if you start repeating patterns, you've lost the feel. It's a long answer to a very good question. Hopefully it begins to show you why no one can do it. I've never really heard a good cover of Rosanna, to be honest. I've got a friend here, shout out to Sam Edgar, he's an amazing drummer, a friend here. He does a very good version of it live. Does it sound exactly like Jeff? No, I don't think he's trying to sound exactly like Jeff, because you get to a point, you get good enough on the drums where you realize it's a bit pointless trying to be someone else. So you just do your version. So if I ever end up doing a Rosanna cover, it'll be my version of Rosanna. It's not going to sound like Jeff Piccaro. I'm not Jeff Piccaro. I don't have that background that he's got. His father was a famous session drummer. He grew up in a house of session, literally the best musicians in the world, getting hired for Hollywood film scores, and that was his life from a baby to an adult. So how do you compete with that? You can't compete with that musicality, that passion, that upbringing. It's in his soul. It's just natural for him. He just sits down. It's easy for him. It's just what he does. I've seen him play it live, and you think, okay, he's going to play it different. He kills it. That sounds better live. So, yeah, getting fired up. Stop firing me up. All right. What else we got? Dan Brockstein, when I hear hydraulic, I think of fluid or water. Are hydraulic drum heads fluid filled? What makes their sound unique? So hydraulic drum heads, you might see them around their like colored heads. They look really cool. I believe they've got a layer in between the top, because on the top head of a drum, the bit where you hit, there's actually often two heads close together. and I think on the hydraulic heads they put a layer of oil in between, and it has a muting effect or a dampening effect where it sounds very dead. So who's asking this? Dan. Dan, you might have noticed that those heads sound really thick and dull almost. So as opposed to bung, you get a doof. Because the dampening built into the head has stopped the resonance. Hopefully that answers your question. Did you suggest aluminium drumsticks for metal music? Aluminium, aluminum. Tomato, tomato. No, I didn't, but that's an interesting one. I've never used those or carbon drumsticks. No, I've never used them, so I can't really comment. E.T. Brew, this is such an important point. I went off on a big rant, so I'm out of touch with what you guys are actually referring to here. Stam stole drums. Why you can't play like Grohl? No one can play like Grohl. Taylor Hawkins got the closest. This comes back to this thing which I'm really vocal about, I think, on the channel, and it comes down to a bit of a respect thing, and respecting the game. Again, one thing to play the notes. You'll find Nirvana drum covers that I've done. I'm playing the notes. Do I sound like Dave Grohl? Not really. Not really. You know, he's got just a way of hitting the drums, tuning the drums, and you see him live and you just think, oh my God, it's so good. And his timing is impeccable. The space between notes when it comes to Grohl, the space between those notes is just so impeccable. He strikes me as one of these guys who doesn't overthink drums. He just plays, and he's just really good at it. Oh, here we go. Stam stole again. He plays guitar and singing too, so didn't play so much difficult grooves. Well, again, and I don't take this the wrong way, but do a cover of a Dave Grohl song. See how you go. People take this as a really confrontational statement. If I say, as a drum teacher, if I say, well, record yourself, you know, if I'm not saying you're saying this, but let's say someone says Dave Grohl's not very good at drums. He sucks. Record Smells Like Teen Spirit and see what it sounds like. People get really offended by that. I wouldn't even bother, it's so easy. Well, do it then. If it's so easy, do it and have a listen back, and you might actually learn something, you know? Like you might think, oh, okay, I see what you mean now, because he's doing that and I'm a bit inconsistent and my note spacing is not as good as his, and why does my snare sound like... And you get led off into this whole rabbit hole of a deeper understanding and a deeper search for what you're looking for and striving for on the drums. Okay. Anthony Partington, where is Will Calhoun in your overall appreciation of drummers? If you're not sure, he is the Living Colour drummer. I've seen him live too. It's just phenomenal. He's one of the greats. He is one of the greats. Check out my Cult of Personality drum cover on the channel. I did it on the E-kit, actually. I need to do it on an acoustic. He's one of the greats, in my opinion, to answer your question. And then Anthony again, the Dave Grohl wallop can't be duplicated, yeah. So as I say, Taylor Hawkins got close, you know. Those two on the same drum kit, I don't know if I would necessarily straight away tell who it was if I wasn't watching them. Play quite similar. Hit hard. How those guys play like that night after night. How? Suzanne Lash, and this is something that she's been harassing me about. Debut or debut? I say debut, don't I? What do you say? Tomatoes, tomatoes. Potatoes, potatoes? John Mark Waddell. I feel like the songs for the Deaf album really shows Grohl's skill the most of a majority of his work. Yeah, great stuff. Mark Long, your cover of Everybody Wants to Rule the World was smooth as. Are you a fan of flow like that beat or feels like the Rockers? Groove, man. Groove. Look, I've always been very practical about how I approach my career. From going to jazz school and everything I did, I was very practical. I wanted to be hireable, put it that way. And I soon found from talking to the local pros and watching what's going on at gigs and who's getting hired for this and why is he getting hired for all the good stuff and oh, he's earning that much for those gigs? What? And then you look at the people who just never get hired and they're always frustrated. Just being honest, just being honest. One group of people are focusing on groove, one group of people are focusing on flashy, shreddy stuff. And what you focus on and what you're drawn to is what you're going to get good at. And I knew I had to get good at groove. I knew I had to get good at playing in time. And here's a way of thinking about things for people who are not drummers on the channel as well. Like perhaps you're a bass player, a guitarist, keyboardist. Here's the question you want to ask yourself. How do I make other people sound good? I'll leave you with that. All right. What Gizmodus, what bebop drummers do you like? So if you're not sure what he's referring to here, bebop jazz, which sort of came about probably early 40s with people like Kenny Clark. Who else was around that period? Roy Haynes, maybe a bit later. Just to answer your question quickly, I'll probably say Philly Joe Jones. Check out, what's the album with him on it? Miles Davis one. Was it Miles Smiles? Oh, 1958 Miles Davis album. Just before, oh my Lord, just before Jimmy Cobb came in on drums. What is the 1958 Miles Davis album? Someone hit me up. Stam Soul Drums. You prefer Jeff Porcaro or Stuart Copeland? Sophie's choice, man. I have to say personally Jeff Porcaro because I know more about him. I know more of his body of work. You have to understand as well with the session legends like Jeff Porcaro, you have to understand they were on literally thousands of recordings with different artists, often turning up to the session not knowing what they're going to play. And they're songs that we still listen to today. These people are so good on their instrument, it's mind-blowing. We will never, ever fully understand how good these people were to be able to go in and record like that. Stuart Copeland had a completely unique voice in a band. So Jeff Porcaro's body of work is this, and comparatively, not to diminish it, but Stuart Copeland's body of work is that. Not saying one's better than the other, it's just that's how different it is. So it's hard to, I can't say one's better than the other because it just doesn't work like that. But me personally, I have to go with Jeff Porcaro. But Stuart Copeland, I mean, come on. And you know this because I've done a whole bunch of Stuart Copeland drum covers on the channel. Anthony Partington, have you attempted any Primus covers? I'm a Herb fan and find them very rooted in the funk. I have not, but he is seriously good. This is a good one. John Mark Waddell, what is the hardest drummer to replicate to you? For me, it's Bonham. I would agree. I would agree. Because with Bonham, what you're hearing is spaced room mics as well. So you're really, really hearing him, how he sounded in a room. And that leaves so much humanity in the drum part. Bill Ward the same. And it's just so hard to copy that. It's impossible. So Jason Bonham playing in Led Zeppelin, he doesn't sound like John Bonham. He's a great drummer. I really dig Jason Bonham and what he does. And I don't think he's trying to be his dad, but yeah, he just doesn't sound like, he's playing the same parts, often playing the same notes. Just doesn't sound like Bonham. Sorry, it doesn't sound like John Bonham. Yeah. Springy. When starting to learn any instrument, it's important to have influences, but don't chase their sound. You sound like you, and that's the best person to sound like you. I think that is a journey, though. I think we all start wanting to be someone else. So I see Steve Gadd popping up. So you might start and just be so inspired by Steve Gadd, and you're on this 10-year quest to sound exactly like Steve Gadd. You learn as many of his drum parts as you can. Late in the evening, 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. And then there's a point where hopefully if you play a lot and practice a lot and you've done hundreds of gigs, you'll realize you can't ever be Steve Gadd. You can only be you. And as cliche as that sounds, it actually sets you off on a different journey. It sets you off on a different journey to find yourself. To really find yourself, you know, what do you like? What do you want to sound like? Stam style drums, Bonham or Ian Pace? Bonham, because I know more about Bonham now. But Ian Pace, what I've seen of him, oh my God. All right, hey, I am going to have to close this off. I'm fully up for the idea of doing another one of these because I think it's a great topic. Thanks to Suzanne for messaging me with this idea. We went a little bit off topic, but I was just sort of following the chat, and we could do another one that's a bit more targeted to the beginner drummer. The timing of this video, I sandwiched this video right in the middle of Led Zepp week because of 30-Day Drummer starting on over at Drumeo, obviously. 30 days for beginner drummers to that you can, and this is in the comfort of your own home. There are no barriers to doing this at all. There's no excuse. And I received so many private messages, emails, and then comments as well. What should I do? I'm not coordinated. I've never played the drums. I can't read music. This is it. The stars have aligned. You can take my 30-day trial and do the whole 30-day drummer beginner course at Drumeo. So again, the link is in the, I'll put it in the chat again. I mean, if stuff like this was around when I was coming up, you won't even understand how big a deal this is. I mean, without sounding like a big-headed idiot, you can't even get in to do private lessons with me. I'm fully booked, right? This is online. You can do it from home. I'm endorsing it. I'm telling you it's a good idea to do this. Go try it. If it doesn't work out, if I don't like this, cancel it. It's free. So that is my real big takeaway for all of this, is you can do a beginner drum course for free. Only on my link for 30 days though. If you just go to Drumeo, you get a 7-day trial. 7 days is not long enough. Good math, good drummer math, 7 days is not long enough to do a 30-day drum course. John Smith, what year did you start school? Well, when I was 5. Hey? I'm pretty sure you're talking about jazz school. I started jazz school in 2006. 3-year degree, jazz performance. I think that's what is that what you're asking me? Okay, yeah, we are going to have to end it there. We've been going for well over an hour now. So I really do appreciate all the comments and the feedback, and hopefully I've made some sense during this video and I've given you some pointers. And look, even if you take one thing away, like, you know, the snare, I got into the whole snare and the mechanics of the snare sound off, on, and you know, the roll of the wires and all this stuff. You know, even if you just pick up one thing, you know, you slowly, it takes time. It takes time for things to sink in and understand sort of what's going on. And yeah, but you're along for the journey with me. I don't know everything. I'm still learning every day. So yeah, we're all on this journey together. So guys, thank you so much. I am going to have to go and get about my day. I've got a whole bunch of PayPal requests that I need to record, and you guys are going to be getting a heap of content too. So be sure to subscribe. I'm working my butt off to get all this content out to you. So yeah, please do make sure to support the channel, and I really appreciate everybody tuning in and watching, and I'm going to have to go. Ciao. Bye-bye.